everybody. We are back to talk NFL playoff
football.
Yum. One of my favorite weekends of the year is Wild Card. It was Super Wild Card weekend this weekend. It wasn't just Wild Card weekend. It's Super Wild Card weekend. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to recap the Wild Card weekend games. We have a special dumpster fire burning in the playoffs right now. Which is unusual, but we have a dumpster fire burning in the playoffs.
We stopped it 1 week.
We stopped it maybe 2 weeks already. We'll find out. But anyways, we do have a dumpster fire burning in the playoffs that we'll get here, and then after that, we will give our predictions for the weekend games coming up here. So let's jump right into it. We had 6 games over the weekend, 2 of them on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. We'll start off with the Seahawks at the 49ers, probably the most lopsided game.
The 49ers were actually trailing at halftime because DK Metcalf went off in the first half, but they strangled them in the second half.
Yeah, a lot of times the breaks have to go your way for you to win, and the breaks did not go the Seahawks' way.
And the 49ers jumped all over them in the second half.
They jumped all over them, and it went from a close game to a 41-23 game. So, congrats. Honestly, I think the 49ers may be the best team in the NFC. And if they're not the best team, they're second place behind Philly. So, it doesn't surprise me. The 49ers, fantastic move getting McCaffrey. When they got McCaffrey,
their engine came rolling.
I think the rest of the team went, ownership's serious about winning, So everybody sort of gelled together, and the 49ers look fantastic right now. So the 49ers definitely pulled the line. Our shocker of the weekend, the Chargers-Jaguars.
This is one of the most pathetic, embarrassing, blown leads I've ever seen in the playoffs.
27-0. The Jaguars
absolutely choke it away.
And then you lose 31-30. That's the third highest blown lead in the playoffs in the history
of football.
Yeah.
Brandon Staley's coaching in the second half, I want to get to this. It was pathetic.
We've been questioning whether Staley was really that good of a coach for a while now. You give him the benefit of the doubt year 1, year 2, but when you get into year 3, you're like, it's really time with that kind of talent to start doing something with it. And honestly, I had almost turned on him halfway through the season. But we were like, no, he's going to make the playoffs. If you make the playoffs, that's something.
But when you get up 27-0 and you choke it away,
that's bad.
Really bad. The Jaguars picked off Trevor Lawrence threw
4 picks in the first half. How do you go up 27-0 and you get 4 interceptions and you lose? How? I still haven't figured that out. How?
Coaching.
It is 100% coaching.
That is on coaching, 100% coaching. Brandon Staley, I was surprised they even got him on the plane. I would have fired him.
I would have fired him in the parking lot. He would have had to Uber his way over to the airport and got his own plane ticket. I would have fired him right in the parking lot.
Misusing Justin Herbert and only running Austin Eckler 8 times in the second half. Running him 8 times.
I don't know.
8 times, folks.
It sort of made it. They had the ball first in the opening half and the opening drive of the second half, and they drove down and got down to around the 40-ish, 45-ish, and it came down to fourth down, and they could have either went for it or tried a long field goal. No, they punted. I thought, why?
Brandon Stale piece of... Wait, I want to go back to the nickname. Brandon Stale piece of bread was his ultimate piece of bread self.
At that point, you're up 20. You give up a touchdown right before halftime. So you're up 27-7. And you could have put the hammer right back down again, showed that you were serious, but you punted 27-14 the next drive.
And then you got a field goal, and that was all you got.
And then
the entourage came in from Jacksonville. Speaking of Jacksonville, I'll give Jacksonville credit.
I'll give Peterson credit.
Doug Peterson turned his team around.
He turned his team around. He came into a roaring dumpster fire of a team. I mean, blazing. They had coaches and this and that. But he came in and after 4, 5, 6 games into the season, he settled his team down and made them something.
3-7.
I still say coaching is 75% of the game.
And Doug.
And Doug is a good coach. Doug's a good coach. He's a very good coach, yeah.
3-7 to start the year, and then 9-8. And you win a playoff game.
And you win a playoff game.
Talk about a good start.
That they didn't give up being down 27 shows
grit.
Your coach, that's
it grows heart and it shows grit. And it shows they won't quit. I like that.
But congrats to the Jags. We picked the Chargers to win, but we did mention if that the Jaguars could win the game, and if they did, they need to burn that place down. But so far, all they've done is got rid of the coach.
Speaking of the dumpster fire burning in Los Angeles, they fired their offensive coordinator to the Wolves,
which is a joke. Let's go ahead and jump on into our Sunday game. So our Sunday, we had the Dolphins at the Bills. A close game, a lot closer than what it could have been, should have been. 34-31 Bills.
Driving the struggle bus a bit in that game. They were up 17-0, and I was thinking, man, this should be the blowout here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the blowout coming, and then Miami just comes back and back and back and back.
Mm-hmm. Again, I think they got a good young coach too.
Although they keep bungling up that Tua situation.
They really need Tua. They need the talent that Tua has. The system's sort of made around him, and I think he's a really good quarterback. Just got to keep him healthy.
That was what they failed to do this year.
If he comes into this year and this next year and gets 3 more concussions, he may be done. He may not play any more football. Because once you get to a certain point, you just got to not play anymore. So the Dolphins really got to look at their system and their personnel and get him a better pocket to play in. You know what I mean? Either your plays are get him out quicker, or the offensive line gives him more time. Well, something has got to be done a little bit better there. And if they do that, I think they're a playoff team because they got the talent, I think, yeah.
They definitely showed they had heart and grit by playing Buffalo close.
Mm-hmm.
But the talent bails Buffalo out.
Now, Buffalo's got a ton of talent, and right now, we agree they're underperforming a little bit. I really thought, and again, I think they're missing Dable. Dable, went to be the head coach of the Giants.
And he has made an impact.
And he's made a huge impact on the Giants, and I think his loss has made an impact on the Bills. They got first-year head offense coordinator Ken Dorsey, and
they're inconsistent at times.
They're inconsistent almost all the time. They're an inconsistent offense. If they ever pull it together, they'd be world beaters, but they're inconsistent. Josh Allen's threw more interceptions this year than he's ever thrown, and you worry about that going into the playoffs because one turnover sometimes can make the difference in a playoff game.
But the problem for the Bills was the offensive line struggling. He got sacked 7 times in that win and threw 2 interceptions and lost 2 fumbles.
And a lot of times that's because of the offensive system. Maybe he's not getting the guys open fast enough. He's having to hold the ball too long. Some of the routes are not clean and crisp. I think that comes back a lot to your offensive coordinator.
You're going to have to clean that up eventually.
You're going to have to clean that up, or you're really not going to go as far as you should. But congrats to the Bills.
Congrats to the Bills for winning another playoff game.
Mm-hmm. They are going to have another home game next week, and it should be a fantastic game. We'll
and it will be probably a big roadblock if there ever was one.
If there was a speed bump for them to get thrown off the road, it's this one coming up. Yeah. Well, they got a tough road coming up. If they win next week, then the week after that's going to be even worse probably. So, but we'll jump into the next game. We have the Giants at the Vikings. And
correctly picked an upset pick.
That was our upset pick of the week. We did pick that one.
And the Vikings defense was garbage. Hot, steaming garbage.
Mm-hmm. And Danny Dimes
played good football.
Played really good football.
Everyone gives him crap for being a bad QB.
No, he is a good QB if you get him a good system and a good coach. Again, Dave will come in and surprise, they're a good team all of a sudden.
The rise, the bounce back of Saquon Barkley also helped.
Yes, having a good, healthy Saquon Barkley definitely made the difference. But it really looks like maybe Barkley wants to play for this guy. Again, if you're a player and you like your head coach and you want to play for him, makes a big difference too.
Yep, and look at the difference Dable made in just a single year.
Yep, 31-27, won a playoff game.
In your first season. It's kind of like Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
You win a playoff game.
Peterson and Dable, it comes down to really good coaching. You got great players, good coaching. You're in the playoffs. You're going to have great players and you're coaching, and you're not going to win very much. You have great coaching and your players, and you're not going to win very much. You have to have
balance,
a good balance, yeah.
And that's what it comes down to but I will give credit is due for the Vikings. They did fire their defensive coordinator after the loss, which is what they should have done
a long time ago, yeah. Because they won a bunch of games by
the skin of their teeth.
But a lot of them they were losing in the final 3 minutes and found a way to win. How'd
you win 13 games with that garbage defense, though? They were ranked 32nd in almost every category in pass defense.
Justin Jefferson.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson, and then you got Cook as a running back. You got Thielen. You got who's their tight end?
Hawkinson.
Yeah, Hawkinson. You got a pretty good offense, really. You got a stacked offense, really. So that's how they did it.
To be honest, though, Kirk Cousins on that dump-off call, there was a defender right in his face, and he had to dump the ball off. But really, that loss was on the defense.
Yeah, when you give up 31 points at home,
that's bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Congrats to the Giants. Now the Giants get the reward of going to the idle Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, you realize that's a rivalry game, and they hate each other.
Yeah, so Giants at Eagles.
In a playoff game.
That'll actually be fun to watch, yeah. The third game on Sunday, we had the Ravens at the Bengals. And again, it's closer than what it should have been.
Without Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, the Ravens put up a fight.
They did put up a fight, and it was all coming down to the wire in a goal-to-go situation.
Yeah.
1 yard to go, and the ball was popped out in Hubbard's big epic return.
How about that, man? Was that not one of the best plays in? That's playoff. That's playoff football. That play will be played for the next 30 years. Every time there's a Bengal playoff game, remember this, and you'll get to see that play for the next 30 years. Yeah.
That was one of the longest defensive returns for a touchdown in the history of the postseason.
Yeah, it was like 98 yards, wasn't it? 97, 98 yards?
98 yards.
That is nuts.
Of glory.
First of all, that he could run that far without running out of gas. He almost got caught, but he didn't. But that was glorious, yeah. And again, the Bengals struggled a little bit. I didn't expect them to struggle.
But the future of Lamar Jackson on the other side is in question.
It's actually, I think they got it settled up from what I've heard in the last couple of days. The offensive coordinator quit, or he got fired, however you want to read it there. The offensive coordinator left Baltimore, and Harbaugh said that Jackson is 200% staying, and they actually wants him involved in picking out the new OC.
All right.
So it looks like Lamar is
still in town.
A Raven, unless it's all smoke and mirrors, which sometimes it's all smoke and mirrors, but we'll see.
He's going to be one of the most interesting things in the offseason to look at.
It'll be fun to see what actually happens there. If they get an OC for him, or if they decide to trade him. I've seen this go before, said, yeah, he's our guy, and then 3 weeks later they traded to another team. So you don't know 100%, but we'll see. But again, congrats to the Bengals. The Bengals get the reward of
playing
to Buffalo. So this is a rematch of the
game that never happened.
Yeah, of the Hamlin. So that might be the game of the week. There will be all kinds of stuff going on for that one. I'm sure they'll probably have Hamlin to show up for that one. Maybe do the coin toss or whatever, and there'll be it'll be a big to do. A lot of emotion in this game. So there's no telling which way it's going to go. But we'll talk about our last playoff game, Monday Night Football. We had the Cowboys at the Buccaneers. This was a shocker to me. Very rarely. The Cowboys hadn't won a road playoff game since the 90s.
But they come in and they skunk the Buccaneers.
They beat them pretty bad, yeah.
That was a skunking.
Yeah, well, you forget that the Buccaneers were a 8-9 team. They were a losing record team. They had Tom Brady, and you keep thinking they got Tom Brady. But they're at 8.
Todd Bowles. Told you, Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles is horrible, yeah. Todd Bowles. If they keep Todd Bowles next year, then they won't have Tom Brady. I don't think Brady comes back to the Bucs. Do you? Really?
The only thing they did was make their offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, the scapegoat for Bowles.
No, it's Todd Bowles. It's head coach.
I told you Todd Bowles was going to screw it up.
Yeah,
he's a bad head coach.
He's a great defensive coordinator, but shouldn't be a head coach, yeah. But anyways, the Cowboys now get to go to the 49ers. So congrats.
So Kellen Moore actually didn't call a terrible game, surprisingly.
There were some bad calls in it, but the Bucs were so bad.
I think you can just do anything.
They overcame that pretty easy, yeah. But that's it. That's our recap of the wild card weekend. Now we are going to have a special little dumpster fire here.
Considering throughout the video, you probably know what it is.
You probably know what it is, but here it comes.
Dumpster fire of the week.
Yeah. And our dumpster fire is, we all know,
the Brandon Staley.
The Chargers, man. That was
horrible.
One of the worst. I mean, I was actually feeling, hey, the Chargers are going to win a playoff game, man.
But I told you during the game, the Chargers are.
You could feel it.
The Chargers.
The Chargers are and Brandon Staley is Brandon Staley. Well, they are. What was the thing? They were +5 in turnovers, which means they had 5 more turnovers than Jacksonville. They are the first team in the history
+5 turnover differential
and lose. And in the history of playoff football, ever.
At least the stale piece of bread has a bit of a recognition to his name.
Oh, yeah, he's got some stars on his name now. You want to know how many rushing yards Austin Eckler had in the second half?
None.
0 rushing yards in a half of football.
That's pathetic. That's horrible.
They only ran him, 8 times?
In the whole second
half. Ran him 8 times in the second half for 0 yards and +5 in turnovers, and you lose a game.
And you fire the offensive coordinator and say that's not on Brandon Staley?
Hey, that's always the first thing that you do. You fire one of your coordinators. It's his fault, fire him. And then the next year when you hire another offensive coordinator back in and you're just as bad, then they get rid of the head coach. So they're probably stuck with the stale bread until through next year.
Man, Brandon Staley's like a crumbled up piece of bread. It's like it's old, it's crumbly,
it won't hold a sandwich together for nothing.
And it cracks too easy.
Yeah, it cracks. It's crusty.
And then Brandon Staley takes a loaf of bread that's all crusty and old, throws it with the plastic on in the oven, turns it on at 420 heat, puts it back out, and it's all nasty and burnt looking.
And tries to put that on the field and make it look good.
Brandon Staley's bad as a head coach. He's not good. If that second half meltdown showed you anything, that's just Brandon Staley being a piece of bread.
It was bad play calling. Again, the week before, he played Mike Williams, and he got injured, and he ended up not being able to play the whole game.
And
that was a bad decision the week before, because that game didn't mean that much the week before.
And then some of the decisions he's made, from last year's blown timeout to this nonsense, makes me believe that he's just a terrible in-game decision maker.
He may be a little over his head. He might have a great offensive mind again. He might be a good offensive coordinator somewhere.
But his background is defense, and that's the problem. His defense blew a lead, too. I'm not going to just put it on the offense. The defense was dreadful in the second half.
Yeah.
They gave up big plays over and over and over.
Yeah.
Made Trevor Lawrence look like the second coming of Joe Montana.
But how can you get +5 on turnovers?
And you lose. That's chargering right there. That's actually an adjective.
Yeah.
That is an adjective on how to charger a game.
Yeah, you charge it up, baby.
I'd rather charge my phone than have that happen to me.
It was so bad. But anyways, that dumpster fire may be burning through. I got a feeling that's not going to be the last time we mention the Chargers and dumpster fires together. Next year, I got a feeling that puppy's still going to be burning.
So you're going to hold on to that old, crunkly bread loaf for a whole offseason?
For a whole offseason. I think
that big old burnt, plastically nasty old
burnt
loaf.
Plastic loaf of bread is going to be around next year.
Do you just slap sticky note saying Staley on it?
Staley, yeah. All right, let's jump into the divisional round games this week. We got 4 games, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. First of all, Saturday at 4:30, we got Jacksonville at the Chiefs.
This is where Jacksonville's road will end.
I think so, yeah. The line opened up at 8.5, and now it's up to 9. I'm actually going to take the Chiefs -9. I think it's maybe like a 13-point game.
Jacksonville had a great turnaround season and a good run so far, but I think it ends here.
Yeah, I think it's like a 34-17, 34-20 type game. I think it's 13 plus points. Yeah. So the Chiefs have been getting warmed up right in time for the playoffs, and Jacksonville has won the last 2 weeks, but offensively they haven't looked good doing it
or consistent.
You give 5 turnovers to the Chiefs, you're going to lose 43-10. They're not going to flop like the Chargers do. You ain't going to give out and give back to you, and you're not going to get a incomplete pass turned into a fumble like they did against the Titans to get that free win either. So Jacksonville's
that was Todd Downing. Todd Downing Todd Downing makes anything look bad on offense.
All right, let's go. But yeah, we will take the Chiefs minus a little 9 there. After that, we got the Giants at the Eagles.
Some nasty smash mouth football is upcoming here. That's what I predict.
Phillies is favored by 7.5.
There might be punches thrown. There might be words.
Oh, there's going to be a fight somewhere. There's going to be the refs will have to break up something during this game.
Because the Giants and Eagles hate each other.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Philly minus 7.5? Do you think they'll win by more than a touchdown? I will pick Philly.
This will be a close game because it's a divisional game.
I will pick Philly, but I'm almost like you. I would probably take the Giants plus 7.5.
This will be a 3-point win for Philly if there is one, I think.
This is more like a 27-24 type game, ain't it? Can't you sort of feel that a little bit?
It's that kind of game. It's a rival. It's a divisional game and a playoff game.
And the Giants looked pretty good last week at Minnesota in the Dome. So
although I will give Minnesota does like to choke in the playoffs a lot, but the Giants did play well there. I will give them credit.
Yeah, they did. All right, let's jump into Sunday's game. We got the Bengals at Buffalo.
The game of the week.
Yeah, Bengals. The Buffalo's favored by 5.5.
That's too big.
I think that's too much. I think Cincinnati might even win the game.
You want to pick the Bengals?
I don't know if I think it's there's a possibility. I think there's a definite possibility. The Bills have been spotty. The Bengals, up until last week, looked really, really good. Last week they looked a little spotty, but that's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's a touchdown game. And basically, 5.5 points. You're saying that's basically a touchdown. That's
I believe both teams will play with passion because of the last time they faced off.
Yeah.
So it'll be a very passionate, full of energy game.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's less than 5.5. I would take the Bengals plus 5.5 though.
I might actually pick an overtime game between these two.
It might just happen, yeah.
Because this
I think this was probably going to be a field goal or less game. Maybe a 4-point game. Maybe a 35-31 type game.
The game to watch of the weekend.
It's definitely going to be a great one. Plus the next game, too. The next game is sort of old school. Goes back to the good old days of the 80s and 90s football. Yeah, we got the Cowboys at the 49ers.
Classic. If you look back in the history of football, the Cowboys and the Niners have battled each other.
Constantly, they have battled. They have been on each other a long, long time. The 49ers are favored by 4. So I'm a Dallas diehard fan.
But you're also cynical.
I'm also a Dallas cynic because they just haven't been able to do it.
And also,
but man, didn't they look good last week? Last week, I don't know if last week was fool's gold, or
it's Todd Bowles,
or if it was them coming together as a team. Because Dak had the best game he may have had his entire career. I mean, you have 5 touchdowns, no turnovers, 300-something yards passing.
But to be fair, that is Todd Bowles. But
yeah,
they did win by double digits, and I'll give them credit.
They won by 17 points, yeah. But do you have a chance against the 49ers defense? The matchup, if you look at the matchup, Dallas is sort of favored in the matchup. But again, I don't know whether I'd want to. I mean, I want to pick Dallas. I want Dallas plus 4, But do we do it? Do we take Dallas plus 4? Or do we say, the 49ers are the second best team in the NFC and they're going to win this?
Well, it depends on what perspective you view this in. Do you view this as a Cowboy fan, or do you view this as a realist?
I'm a realist. 49ers are going to win. But by how much? Do you think the 49ers will get them by 4 or more points?
Maybe 10 at the most, 7 at minimum. if I think.
Yeah. We've had our two upsets. We think the Giants are probably going to be closer to the Eagles. So we've got the Giants plus points. And we've got the Bengals plus some points because we think that's a closer game. Probably the 49ers -4 probably is the better bet. You're probably looking at a 31-24 type game. That's probably what you are looking at, like a 7-point game that the 49ers will win by. That puts the if the Bengals win, we got Bengals Chiefs again for the AFC Championship
I bet
game.
you Mahomes is up for that one. Burrow's up for that one.
I guarantee you.
Possibly. That's not guaranteed.
And then we will have the 49ers at the Eagles. Two pretty good games, ain't it? Got some pretty good championship games coming up. If it goes that way. Now watch it be the Bills and the Jaguars and the Cowboys and the Giants.
Oh, that would be funny.
That would be funny, yeah. But that's it. That is NFL football for this week. Next weekend it is championship weekend. The NFC, AFC championship games.
And then into the Super Bowl.
And then on to the Super Bowl. I'm sure there'll be some more surprising firings.
Speaking of firings, we've got some coordinators out the door, and I mean a lot.
Oh, who all went out?
Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator Greg Roman out the door.
We mentioned that, and then Lamar Jackson should be involved in that hiring.
Byron Leftwich of the Buccaneers offensive coordinator out the door.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to... I think the Bucs take a big step back next year.
Offensive coordinator for the Titans, Todd Downing, thankfully.
Thank you, Jesus.
Out the door.
They brought in a new GM from the 49ers organization. So I've got some big hopes for the Titans next year. That's a big step up from the GM they had.
Minnesota defensive coordinator Ed Donatel out the door.
Out the door. He was, he wasn't the worst in the world, but he wasn't that good either. The one that it was the worst in the world.
Joe Woods, defensive coordinator of the Browns.
He was horrible, dude. He was bad. We talked about him all year needing to go. And
he was the chicken with the head cut off defense if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
His secondaries were so undisciplined and running everywhere.
Yeah,
it was a mess.
Yeah. Any other coordinators go?
Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator of the Chargers, out the door.
Wasn't his fault. They scored 27 points in the first half. It wasn't his. Yeah. Anyways.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I can't stand teams when they choke leads.
Nope. We will be watching some dumpster fires next week. The Chargers and the Raiders are two good chances of being dumpster fires because they got bad head coaches. The Bucs will be a dumpster fire next week.
Jets offensive coordinator Michael LaFleur out the door.
I don't know what it is with the Jets. We'll just have to wait and see.
But Zach Wilson's not good. But we'll see.
We'll see.
Oh, Alan, I'm out here for you.
Yeah.
Those are the ones we've seen so far. There may be more around the corner.
Maybe more. We get to see if Aaron Rodgers is gonna go or stay. I got a feeling Aaron Rodgers may go to a team and try to win a quickie, whether it be the Titans or the Raiders. Top of Brady, I think Tom's going to go somewhere else. I think he might go to the Titans, Raiders, or the Saints and try to win a quickie there,
if he goes to the Titans all the years, it feels weird.
I have to root for Tom Brady?
It'll feel bizarre.
It'll feel bizarre. Plus, we got the head coach, Sean Payton, is going to go somewhere with his super team of coaches and coach somewhere. It might be
Denver, might be
Carolina. I'm anxious to sort of see what happens. So we got some exciting things going on, even when we only got a few games going on. So be sure and keep up with us. Watch us. Be sure and hit the like button. Be sure and hit the subscribe button.
Groovy baby button.
We will see you for next week.
See you next week.